This is The Discourse with Dr. Ken.
Today's topic is the female economy. When I meant female economy, I'm talking more about how have women impacted on the economy generally, but more importantly, the informal sector of the economy. Like you know, I've brought onto this discourse the likes of Bismarck Rewan, the like of Tilewa Adebajo, Professor Kelly Kume of Lagos Business School. But today we'll get something that is a bit different, female, younger, different perspective. So I welcome to the program Nnenna Ajanwachukwu. How are you, Nnenna?
I'm doing very well, thank you, doctor.
How has the week been? You know, it rained and there was a lot of disruption during the week. Were you caught up? Did you have a good experience?
So it's been raining quite a lot and there's been floods all over. Luckily for me, I was home on those days that it rained.
Oh.
So I was busy calling my colleagues, calling my friends and saying, where are you? Are you swimming? How's the weather out there? So I was lucky to be at home.
Was it luck or planning?
Well, a bit of planning, actually, because I woke up and I saw the rain. It was heavy. And luckily, at my workplace, we get to work some days from the office and some days out of the office. And so I just called in and said I'll be working from home today.
Okay, talking about this format you younger people get to your work life, you know, which you know, you work when you like out of the office, or is it an arranged kind of format, or is it the norm today?
Well, it's called hybrid work, right?
Okay.
And in some workplaces, they've adopted the fact that you can work sometimes 3 days from the office and 2 days from home. In my workplace, we do that. You get to choose the days you want to come into the office, but you have to make sure that it's 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
So is it about the days or the input?
It's the input,
okay,
but they want to see you in the office at least 3 times a week. So of course you need to do what you need to do from the office, and you're allowed to work from home. You have your laptops.
Okay.
I mean, IT technology has allowed you to do that. Exactly, it allows you to do that.
Fantastic. I have Nnenna Ajanwachukwu, like I told you today, as is customary on the program. Let me take Nnenna's very short profile. The topic today is the female economy, and our guest is Nnenna Ajanwachukwu. Nnenna Ajanwachukwu is an economist and business development expert. Her expertise spans economic policies, financial management, innovative technology, and treasury management. Nnenna Ajanwachukwu has a master's degree in economics with focus on growth through strategic relationship building, product development, and market penetration. Nnenna is dedicated to empowering women and promoting their advancement. She enjoys cooking, fashion, and is a lover of growth and development. Have I left anything out, Nnenna?
No, apt. I think you've done justice to it.
Yeah, I manage, you know, those of us who schooled in the 80s and 90s were forced to do summary, isn't it? So I managed to compress that and do a summary of your profile.
Fantastic.
Isn't it fantastic? So I start with this question, and it's generic. You know, introductory, you know. Why do I say introductory? Because it's basic, you know, economic conversation. So traditionally, the Nigerian economy has revolved around specific sectors. Today, we're exploring the growing force, the female economy. In your view, Nnenna, how has the role of Nigerian women, both formally and informally, changed the economic landscape in recent years?
Nigerian women have significantly transformed the economic landscape, right? Both formally and informally, just like you've mentioned. Some of the sectors that the woman in Nigeria has helped to grow is the agri sector, the trade, the services. You see a lot of women involved in those areas. But we've started seeing a lot of impact in growing impact from women in other areas like tech. We talk about STEM. See a lot of women starting to go into technology, entrepreneurship, for example. Nigerian women are going huge and making impacts as entrepreneurs, launching businesses, whether businesses around tech. I keep saying tech because that's the new wave, and women are not left behind. Women are going into fashion naturally, hospitality, and you see a lot of that in the numbers in terms of impact it's had with regards to growth. A lot of women also in the formal employment. I know you've mentioned informal,
yes,
right? But women are growing increasingly in the formal employment sector. We're talking about banking, finance, and some of the professional services. We've also seen, whilst I was thinking through this topic, I tried to look at the number of CEOs, women CEOs in the banks. It has grown rapidly. Back then, you would see just maybe one CEO, Oceanic Bank back in the days, but you've seen increasingly, maybe about 10 or 11 now today, out of the 25 banks, female CEOs, and impacting hugely. I mean, the finance sector and the banking sector has a huge impact in the economy of Nigeria. And you see that women are manning that position, which is good.
That's great. Talking about numbers, by the way, I need to first of all give credit to MoneyPoint, because there's this research. I stumbled onto that research during the week, and I had to go through it over and over again. And I thought that excerpts from that report would give Philip to today's program. So I took a lot leading questions out of that report by MoneyPoint.
This is The Discourse with Dr. Ken.
Talking about numbers, Nnenna, look at this. Nigeria is home to approximately 40 million medium and small-scale enterprises, of which almost 90% are in the informal sector. The informal economy, also known as the unregistered and untaxed economy or sector, all around you, whether it is family business, businesses by neighbors, side hustles. So women account for 37.1% of the people in Nigeria's informal economy. So 2 questions. How important is this sector, the informal sector? And then B, is it a crucial avenue for women's economic empowerment?
The informal sector is huge in Nigeria, and if we just have about 31% of women in the informal sector, it means that a lot needs to be done to bring in more women into the informal sector. Okay. Right?
Yeah. So, but how has that done with them? Is it a crucial avenue for their empowerment? What's your take?
Yes, it is. It is. Informal sector, there's a lot happening there, and it is crucial for women to partake in it. But where I'd look at more is what is happening around the formal sector, right? Because the economy is being driven by a lot of activities in the formal sector as well. And what is the impact that women can and should have within the formal sector? Now, the informal sector, we're talking about agric. Agric is, a lot of, the agric sector is largely informal. And agric in Nigeria contributes a high, I don't have the numbers, maybe you do, but it contributes a high percentage of the GDP in Nigeria today. And if you want to then grow the Nigeria's economy, you would also want to bring in the women in that sector. So it's something that would impact the economy as a whole.
Oh, fantastic. So, because education has a lot to do with this, because more and more even though we are very far away, looking at the numbers and education index, but a lot of more women are getting access to education these days. Several education initiatives in Nigeria aim to empower girls these days, while not solely focused on entrepreneurship. How might these initiatives, including the past projects like the Girls Education project phase, there's a lot of, do you think women are better equipped today, are more educated, or we still have a lot of challenges in those areas? And I'm talking pan-Nigeria now.
There's still gaps. There's still gaps with regards to gender, parity in education, and of course the child. There are still gaps, and there's still a lot that needs to be done. You've mentioned the girls education project phase 3, and the fact that we need to bring in more policies, more initiatives to bring in the girl child, to bring in the women, to grow. Now, just by way of statistics, Nigeria's child population is growing, right? Your children between 0 and 18% account for about half of the 210 million strong population that we have today in Nigeria. Nigeria will account for about 17% of children in Africa. Probably in 2030. This is statistics that is out there. Now, we want to ensure that the girl child is educated.
Okay.
And the girl child is educated and equipped to then partake in the economy and grow what is happening in the Nigerian economy.
More than half of the informal economy population is less than 34 years old. Is this a tremendous opportunity for socioeconomic transformation through innovation, entrepreneurship, and job and wealth creation? Because they're quite young, we have that population. So what's going on in Nigeria? Should they not have been tremendous opportunity for socioeconomic transformation? And where are we with that?
Yeah, they should be more around the young people, more focus around the young people, more initiatives around driving the young people, whether it's technology and education, because if most of the population is the young generation, then there should be more impact and more focus around enabling the young person or the young people to be positioned in Nigeria as a whole.
So how focused are these young people? Because the older people accuse them of lack of focus. Do you agree?
We are very, very focused.
Okay.
The young people are focused. I think maybe it's just not, the opportunities are not there because it's assumed that the older generation don't feel that we are, the younger generation is focused. So but
why is that? Why is that impression there? I mean, why is that perception there? Is it because you are focused in your own way, or or is it an organized chaos or something?
It's not an organized chaos. Well, I think the older generation have a different way of thinking.
It's just definitely. A mindset, okay?
Yeah, probably have a different way of thinking, and what they see as important and what will drive the economy and things that they think are priority are probably different from what the younger generation see as the future. So maybe there's no synergy there, and because the older generations are the ones most of the spheres of our affairs, you find that then the opportunities are not presented. But I think we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think the future belongs to the young people. They have the energy, they have the tenacity, and have new knowledge, if you ask me. So if properly focused, and then we provide the right environment and infrastructure, these people will definitely lead us to the direction which we all desire, be it in the economy or in our social lives. So, Nnenna, talking about numbers again, 8 out of 10 businesses have been opened for less than 5 years in Nigeria. And I'm talking of in recent times. So Nigeria is increasingly becoming a cemetery for young businesses, a gulag, if you ask me. So less than 20% of businesses were over 5 years old. Is this an indication that the challenges of keeping businesses running in the small scale area, especially where most women engage, is a Herculean task?
Well, there's a lot that needs to be done to around the SMEs. There are a lot of doing business risks and issues in Nigeria.
So what are those challenges?
Infrastructure, just like you mentioned, is a challenge. You mentioned something around the grid was down, all of those things, power, those things need to be in place for a small business to thrive. Now, one of the things that is a challenge for women, we're speaking to women, is access to finance. And you find that majority of women, when they start up their small businesses, they use personal savings to finance their businesses. And sustainability of that is low. You need to get access to credit and finance from whether it's banks, microfinance banks, and things like that. And when the female gender, if you're not able to access those loans and those credit, it stifles your business. So we need to then start to help, if I may put it, and the female gender, and even just small businesses generally, in terms of access to funds, in terms of the infrastructure that is put in place to help those small businesses. Because if you don't have those, then in the next, what's the number? 4 years, 5 years, the business is down the line.
This is The Discourse with Dr. Ken.
More businesses get credit from family and friends than from traditional banks. So I hear you on that. In fact, look at the statistics. Traditional banks offer only 12.2% of this credit. Cooperatives offer only 2%. Loan and app and platforms 15.1%. Family and friends 70.7%.
Wow.
So you can see that in today's economy, as difficult as it is, if younger people who are going to source funds to start or even maintain their businesses are going to rely on families that are already under the crutch.
Exactly.
Then you can see a scenario that is already a predicament, that is prostrate. So why is the traditional banks the least common way that businesses in the informal sector get access to credit they need? What is your take? What's going on in that space? Why is it so?
So, well, it's easier to convince Daddy Dearest to give me some money, right? On a lighter note. But the truth is, the banks, they request for quite a lot. You know, as a small business owner, right? They may be asking me for documents that I don't have. They may be asking for certain criteria which I may not have. I'm just, you know, a small business. I'm starting my business. I have this novel idea that I think, you know, would you know, excel or would make money or would, you know, push the economy and things like that or solve a problem. And then I go to the bank and they have this long list of things that they've asked me to submit, you know, and they've requested for certain things. Now, the SMEs, a lot of them may not be as educated and financially literate as, you know, the banks would require for those requirements for the access to loans and access to credit. So that automatically then, you know, zeroes out those informal SMEs that are coming up.
So that's the hamstring.
Yeah.
So listen, if you have headache, you probably go to a GP, a doctor. If you have toothache, you go to a dentist.
Yeah.
And if you have problem with your eyes, the ophthalmologist is there. There are consultants who understand what business plan is. So why don't young people understand that business too needs a structure? You need to approach a specialist just like you do when you are sick or when you have psychological problems. You meet a psychologist. So whether it's small or big business, there's something you call business plan. And the business plan must be in place. So don't they understand this? And don't they know that you can approach a consultant to say, you know what, I'm just starting. You know, let's have a conversation. Forget about the money part because it could be an idea that is bankable, but somebody must put it in such a way that somebody sitting on the other side of the desk at a bank can understand and relate with it.
Yeah, so it may not necessarily be a young people's thing. I think it's more of learned. You know, a lot of these SMEs, they are not as literate as we want them to be.
What of those that are?
Those that are, a lot of them do, you know, consult people, maybe go to consultants, but then there's also the issue of financing because, I mean, for you to go to the consultant, you would pay.
There are businesses, say in the makeup space and beauty space, that is doing a turnover of 250 million a year.
Exactly.
That is a lot of money, but has never seen a consultant, not one day. It does not even understand what profit and P&L is, profit and loss account. Does not understand what a business plan is. So how do you grow this business? How much more transforming it into a bigger entity?
So outside the rural areas, so we're talking about Lagos, it's now that information. Someone is starting a business, he may not know that he needs to have a business plan. So it depends on the level of information or level of education that you have. Some people just feel like, oh, I have a good idea, it's novel, it's fantastic, let's go for it. And they're not aware that they need to go. And that's why, I mean, it's good that we have this show and we're talking to people online and saying to them, if you have an idea, look for a consultant and, you know, get some information because those are specialists that can help you in that regard.
Please, yes, we needed to put it out there because it's not just about money all the time. If you approach a consultant and you have a bankable idea, you have a great idea, the consultant may not just start the conversation with money. He wants to deepen that conversation. He wants to see value out of it. I can even say, listen, I'm going to give you some support structure. When this business become real, then I begin to apply the percentages in terms of ownership. Young people must be open to that kind of conversation. Do you agree with me?
I agree, we should, but but this is Nigeria. Money first. I know you're saying consultants may not ask for money. Maybe they ask for partnership. They ask for stake in the company. But a lot of times, you know, they're looking for how much are you going to pay me, you know, to write you a business plan. Maybe we need more intellectuals or intellects that are in that space to then start to reduce the cost of some of these, you know, business plan and things like that to allow for people to come in because not everybody knows. Not everybody knows really.
Well, if you don't know, now you know. Listen, I'm a consultant. I want a situation where if I have 20 visitors in my office in a week, that at least 10 of them come with the disposition of I want to create a business. I want to establish a business. I want to consolidate on it. I want to expand it. I want to have those kind of conversations first.
Doctor, Is it going to be free?
Well, the fact that you've come up with an idea. What is important is that ideas change the world.
True.
As we speak, my dependency index is growing by the day. Dependency means that, listen, I want transport money, I want money for feeding, I want that. Listen, those are not the kind of conversations that you put through all through your life, isn't it?
True.
These people have the talent, they have the know-how, they have the ideas. If you want to approach a bank, especially, because these figures are alarming, can you imagine from tradition, just to set up a small business in Nigeria, traditional banks only give 12.2%, cooperative 2%, loan and app 15%, but family and friend 70%. And this is a family and friend that are already burdened. So we can't go anywhere if we don't have education around this.
This is The Discourse with Dr. Ken.
Do people dress for work, really? Because what I see, talking about this area, what I see is something that can be really tantalizing, and is not harassment on the part of the women.
So I have a different view, and I don't know what the listeners are going to feel about it. I feel that, you own yourself, and you have the right to dress how you want. I mean, there are things that are appropriate and things that are not, right? But everybody has a choice onto how they want to dress.
Yeah, but it's a workplace.
Yes.
He has his own etiquette. He has his own culture.
If it has dress code, then you.
And we're talking of the formal space.
Yes, if there's a dress code, you should keep to the dress code. That's normal. Where there's a policy, you should keep to it, unless generally. But of course, people should dress according to dress code. And I think I do work somewhere, and people do keep to dress code.
They do. Yeah.
What is important is that those dress codes should be made public, and where someone goes away from it, then the punishment should be applied, so that people know that once you deviate, this is what comes.
Okay,
right?
Great. So let's talk work-life balance and mental health. Balancing work and family life can be extremely challenging, especially in Nigeria at these climes. What resources or support systems are available to help women working in both formal and informal sector prioritize their mental health and well-being? This is a big topic around women, isn't it? Amongst women.
It is, yeah, because as a woman, you are tackling quite a lot. You're dealing with the family, you're dealing with the children, there's a lot of societal...
They call it multitasking, isn't it?
Yes, we're good at it. I think we're born that way. Women are born, to multitask. But at the same time, because women now are becoming more aware, they want to grow at the workplace. They want their place at the workplace. Now, being able to marry that, growing, career-wise, and then also the societal norms and the things that are expected of you as a woman in the home, whether it's home, whether you're married or not, but as a woman, there's certain things that are expected of you. So marrying that becomes challenging. Back in the days, I think, maybe back in my parents' days, women were not so aggressive around career. So you find a lot of stay-at-home moms, and they're able to do that, right? But now, women, we are out there. We're trying to do the same, and we're trying to take our position. Reduce that gender gap in the workplace. But are there things that are being done, especially for women, to accommodate? I'm a nursing mom, for example. I've come into the office. Can I have my child, in a crèche within the workplace? Is there something that has been provided for that? Because a working father may not necessarily be bringing his child to the office. The mother will do that. So that burden or that task or responsibility is on the woman. So are there things that are being done in the workplace to accommodate that and to help the woman? Because if my child is not safe, or I feel like, I've dropped my child somewhere far, I'm not sure, my mental being is affected. So those are some of the things that we need to start to bring into the the workspace and the formal employment space.
Great. I'm going to ask you about capacity, but before I go into that, talking about capacity and women and how we can empower them further. But there's a message here, and it says that you can imagine, sir, Dr. Ken, how women dress these days. I was in church today, I could not concentrate. In fact, my visit to the church today was a waste because I could hardly concentrate because of the rubbish this woman wore to church. In this place, there are workers, the priests, the pastors, the church wardens. They are all at work, but all of them could not probably concentrate because of this. How is your guest going to advise women to be wary? What do you say?
So I was trying to get into that space. Yes, it's a church, right? And you should be appropriately dressed. You shouldn't be distracting. What's his name? Did he put his name there?
Yeah, Wale.
Wale, I'm so sorry about my gender distracting you this morning. But yes, you shouldn't distract the next person. However, it's her body. Right now, if the church has a dress code, just like we said,
of course we know that it's a church.
Then it is
even the workplace has dress code.
It is the responsibility of the usher, the protocol, to stop that member.
They turn her back, isn't it?
Well, yeah. If there's a dress code, but some churches don't have a dress code. If you feel like, if it's too short, you can't come in, or maybe put her at the back, so that she doesn't distract the Wale, and the rest of them in the church.
9 out of 10 female-owned businesses in the informal sector earn less than 250,000 monthly. Does this mean that women? Does this mean that women are mostly found in the lower earning categories? If yes, what are the consequences in the family units? What my question is, try to address is that the less and less a woman earns, it has impact on the family unit.
Yes, it does. It does, because women are nurturing in nature. Nurturing. They have nurturing instincts.
Okay.
Naturally. Now, if the woman is empowered, earns more, you find the woman plows it right back into the family, whether it's by food, educating the children and things like that. There's tendency for a woman to be more nurturing than the man. I know some men are going to attack me now, and I'm ready, right? But yes. So when the woman is earning more, it comes right back into the home, the family, and is able to grow that family education-wise, and paying for fees and things like that. They bring it right back home. Not to say that men don't do the same, but I think just generally, being that we, carried the child for 9 months, there's this tendency to just bring it right back, and we are in charge of the home most times.
I read a bit of your research, which was saying that unemployment is the leading motivation for starting a business for men. Why most men go and start their own businesses?
It's unemployment.
It's unemployment in Nigeria, young people. Then the same research is saying that insufficient funds, or insufficient income from more formal employment is the motivation among women. Do you agree? For men, while it is unemployment, for women it is insufficient fund, even when they earn money from formal employment. Is passion the major driving factor for people who start informal businesses? Or is it just a case of let me do something?
I think it's very important, right?
Okay.
Because there are a lot of issues in the economy or doing business and risks around doing business in Nigeria today, that if it's not your passion, or if it's not something you have a flair for, chances of you just dropping it at the first issue may come up. And there are a lot of issues. We talk about infrastructure issues, we've talked about financing issues. Those are things that may just, once it shows up, if you're not passionate about it, and if it's not your flair and your passion, you may just drop it. So yeah, it's important for it to be something that you're passionate about. Yeah.
I have a couple of messages, but let me take one from Bagada, and it's from Victor. And he says, Nnenna, please, I need to let you know that statistically men are dying gradually for doing so much for the family, depriving themselves of basic things, while most of you women look after your aged parents and your brothers and sisters. Do you agree with that?
So men are dying and women are looking after. Okay, so make it make sense to me. I don't quite get it.
Well, he's saying that, listen, because you were talking about how important a woman income streams are to family. They bring it, they use it, they take care of families. But he's challenging that. He's saying statistically men are dying gradually for doing so much for their family, depriving themselves of basic things. While women like you, Nnenna, he's saying, not me.
Okay, women like me
look after their aged parents and their brothers and sisters. Do you agree with that? Those are
also families.
Really?
Their family. Aged parents should be looked after. Brothers and sisters should be looked after. Yeah, but I don't agree though that women like me, Nnenna, are busy taking care of our aged parents and not bringing our monies or our income or revenue, to the home.
I think these people are talking about the area of emphasis. They say women, you just use it for yourself, for your aged parents, and then for your brothers and sisters. Why the man gives all, and even denies himself the basic things of life?
The truth is, your aged parents are also their family, and I'm sure even the men, do. I'm not aware that men don't give their parents money. I think it's a perception that women just take care of themselves. In reality, I don't think there's any woman that has a child that will be buying jewelry, overspending on their child. I don't believe so. In the Nigerian culture, in the African culture, the man prides himself in taking care of his family, right?
Okay.
That is natural, right? But where a woman is economically dependent, I don't think that they don't plow their funds back. But men like to take care of their families. They want to. It's a pride thing for them, right? So if they don't have the money or they have money, they want to.
They sacrifice.
Yes.
So
yes.
You agree that they sacrifice more than the women, isn't it, in the family, in terms of finances?
Maybe if the woman doesn't have.
But Peter is saying, I disagree with Nnenna because your guess on her explanation about women nurturing instinct. So what kind of nurturing instinct are you talking about? How can she say women plow their business money back to family needs? He said maybe that was in the 70s and 80s, that the woman of today does not.
Is he talking from experience? Maybe?
Yes.
Maybe he's meeting. Maybe he has some wrong women around him. The women I know, they put their money right back. Right?
They put the money back.
They do. They take care of their families. The thing is, the men, I think, have they, like I said, they pride themselves in taking care of their families. It's a pride thing. So even when the women are putting money back, the man wants to do more. The man wants to do more.
Yeah,
the man wants to do more.
Fantastic. Peter has sent again. He's saying that, yes, you are right in some cases, but even when women make money, they brag about it. And they brag about their growing capital and succeed more because they boldly draw the line between their business and their family expenses.
From a business perspective, right? Yeah, you do need to draw a line.
You need to draw a very hard line.
You need to draw a line.
So women draw hard lines, but men draw dotted lines.
Maybe they are better business people, hey?
Oh, they're better business people?
Maybe, because yes, from a business perspective, you need to draw a line because if you take all your money that you gotten from the business right into the family, which is like expenses, then you have no business anymore, eventually.
Business dies.
It dies.
Okay,
it dies.
So if you're a woman out there, you are married, I think your family should come first, not the jewelry, not the clothing. And if you are going to take care of aged parents, then it should equalize it. It should be both your parents and those your in-laws, not just your brothers and sisters.
Proverb for the day. There's something. It's in Igbo. I'm trying to, get my mother tongue. When a woman cooks a watery soup, right? The man learned how to make a hole in the eba. To scoop that soup. Can you?
Yes,
Doc, can you
that.
say it in Igbo?
So
do you get it? So
if
a woman,
the soup is watery,
yes.
So you see that supports all what the men are saying. So why would they make watery soup?
If there's no funds, right, and you make a watery soup, the man is then able to make a little hole and scoop it.
That's
right?
creativity.
Creativity,
and
right there,
isn't it?
It's fantastic.
So men are ingenious.
Right?
NBC is saying, why do you cook watery soup?
NBC, if the funds are not there, you must make some sort of soup. And if it's watery, then what can you do? As a man, just make that little hole, scoop that thing and put it right in. The nutrients are there. So in every situation, no matter how bad it is, find that lemonade from that lemon. That's what it is.
It's very important. Yes. From the messages I'm seeing here, most of the men are exasperated about the watery soup. They say it shouldn't have been there in the first place.
It's the situation currently, but the soup must be made. If it's watery, make that little hole in there, scoop it up and, enjoy it.
Okay, another one, Victor is saying my business has crashed because of watery soup.
Apologies. Just keep taking up that soup. The nutrients are going in. It will eventually get better.
Have a fantastic week ahead of you. Bye.
And that's it on The Discourse with Dr. Ken.